Respected dear family members, dear children, dear students, you all remember that we are talking about Hindu Dharma, and we have explained in a series of ways, and we are entering into the subject of Hindu literature. I told you Christians have got one literature, Bible, one book, one holy book, Bible. Muslims also have got one book, Sikh has got one book, Buddhism followers have got one book, whereas Hindus have got thousands of books. We have got thousands of rishis, and these books contain thousands of subjects. And these books were not written in a particular period. Addition, deletion, modification and corrections were done. Their commentaries and sub-commentaries were written. So you have got a literature asset of millions of books. Millions of books. Maybe very important or reasonably important, some are unimportant. Still we have got. Now you have seen many movies are there connected with our literature. Many serials are there, Mahabharata, Ramayana serials, Shiva Puranam, Devi Puranam and so on. Not only books, but film, movies, serials, then CDs are there, animation pictures are there. All these are coming out from the core Hindu literature. Why they are coming even today like this? Answer is very simple. The messages given through the stories, I want to repeat it, messages given through these Puranic stories are relevant even today. Otherwise it would have been wiped out from the surface of the globe earth. Whatever has to survive, it will be surviving. Whatever need not survive, that will not be surviving. You know, 650 years, foreign invaders, Muslims ruled India. And Aurangzeb burnt as many Hindu literature as possible. He burned it in front of Varanasi Shiva temple. The palm leaves, the manuscripts, burnt in the heap of fire for about 186 days. Still our literature remain here. 650 years foreigners, foreign invaders, particularly Muslims, Ghazni came, Ghori came, Khilji came, slave dynasty came, Taimur came, and finally up to Mughal dynasty, Aurangzeb, Akbar, Shah Jahan, everyone. In our textbooks it is told the glorious picture of these people. But if you go to the core, you can see they were all fanatic Muslims. They were all fanatic Muslims, looted the temples, destroyed the books, burnt the books. Still India did not die. And after Muslim invaders came Dutch, Spanish people, Turkey people, French people, then Portuguese, then English people. 250 years of foreign Christian invasion. Foreign Christian invasion took place. And they destroyed directly many things. In the top, they took many of the books to Britain and other country, and in the bottom they destroyed it. And Lord Macaulay tried to misinterpret Vedas through Max Muller. And you know, they wanted to create a vacuum in the mind of the Hindus. So Britishers followed a divide and rule, completely divide and rule. And they wanted to divide Hindus as higher caste, upper caste and lower caste. They wanted to divide India as Muslims and Christians. they wanted to divide Indians as their Christian people and other Hindu people. And they created the problems which continued by Jawaharlal Nehru. Jawaharlal Nehru got his education in the West, so he had the Western approach, all-round Western approach. And he always used to say, in India, some religion and philosophy exist and nothing else, no science, no technology. So he was indirectly a slave of British people. And he brought Indian mind also a slavery mind towards British people. And he started Western education system in India. So Indians started hating their own culture, their own heritage. It's the negative contribution of Jawaharlal Nehru. So you should know why Hindus are not respecting Indian culture. Because they were taught for the last 70 years to fight against superstition, and people told Hindus that whatever you carry are superstition. So fighting against superstition and informing that Indian culture, Indian heritage is 100% superstition. That directly means that you fight against Indian culture. So nowhere in the world the rulers used to create, nowhere in the world the rulers used to create a negative mind to the heritage, like India. And the leftist intellectuals, professors and scholars of India, right from the First World War, to wipe out Hindu Dharma and to create a culture of communism. They denigrated, degraded, belittled and make fun of Indian culture and Indian heritage. This is the ultimate point of getting the Hindu mind filled with negatives against India. Naturally, the Muslims and Christians exploited that Hindu mentality and they converted many Hindus to their religion, even though Muslim religion is full of terrorism sponsored by Quran and the Prophet. Jihad is Quran word, and all the activities what they are doing now, world over terrorism is sponsored by Quran, directly or indirectly. Yesterday, Ministry of External Affairs of India has told Pakistan is the epicenter of world global terrorism, and Islam is the sponsor of global terrorism. No Christians, no Hindus are there. If at all any Christian or Hindu is taking part in terrorism, you can see that is happening after converting to Islam. All the Muslims are not terrorists, but all the terrorists are Muslims. You can see these people created such a negative mind towards Indian culture. And the Hindus suffer that negative even today. Our Puranas are Puranas, it conveys the stories, it conveys the experiences, it conveys the messages. So world over people started accepting it because they started learning it. They started studying it and teaching it. My request to you, you should also learn, whether you like it or not, whether you want to criticize it or approve it, whether you want to reject it or accept it. Learn. Every story will be carrying excellent message for changing your mind from bad to good. That's what I wanted to say. Every story, the Puranas include the stories of great kings, rishis, the demonic people, Rakshasas, Asuras, and symbolically the nature. And in Puranas, stories connected with animals are not there. So now I am going to enter into another subject of second level, Mahabharata. Before entering into Mahabharata, I would like to say, when you are listening the Puranic story, spirituality is there in the story. When we listen the Puranic story, we think that we are doing a spiritual activity. It's good. Wherever spirituality is there, devotion, dedication and sincerity will automatically come up. When you respect your mother, Matra Devo Bhava, so the devotion, dedication, sincerity towards the mother will increase. When you respect your nation, Rashtra Devo Bhava, your devotion, dedication, sincerity towards the nation will increase. So whenever the stories, Puranic stories are linked with the spirituality, your devotion in listening that, your dedication in understanding that, your sincerity in applying that, devotion in listening, dedication in practicing, and sincerity in applying, that will increase. Wherever bhakti is there, their sincerity will always increase. So spirituality is part of Puranic story that is exclusively for creating a devotion in learning and understanding the story, and a devotion in taking the message of that and then practicing in our day-to-day life. So Puranic stories as such is not spiritual. As such it is not spiritual. As such it is a story. But spirituality is added to that, just like we add sugar to coffee and tea, just like we add salt to our curries, and just like we take pickles with the food. These are all addendum. Spirituality is the addendum. But some people follow it blindly. It's not bad. Blindly following, sometimes what will happen? Later on, when you start thinking logically, rationally, scientifically, you may think that that story is merely story, there is no science in that. For them, this over spirituality in the story can be avoided. Particularly in the Western system, the students always ask question. They always keep the mind of rejection. They always keep the scientific temper. For them, the explanation that this is a story, spirituality and little bit of religious tint is added to that, exclusively for creating a sense of devotion in that. If you explain that, it will be going very good. So Puranic stories convey you the merit of love, merit of affection, merit of devotion, sincerity, and merit of undertaking great missions, merit of spirituality, merit of sufferings for achieving the goal, merit of keeping a goal, and demerit of anger. The Puranic stories tell you the demerit of anger, demerits of fear, demerits of inferiority complex, demerits of cowardice action, demerit of insulting and making fun of others. So Puranic stories give you the positives of positive action as a story through stories, the negatives of negative action through stories. That is what is happening. So clearly you should understand that Puranic stories are pathways to convey the real essence of the life. How to take our mind from Asatoma Satgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Puranic stories are meant for children and academically lower level people, intellectually lower level people, because for them high level of philosophy will not work. Great Vedic messages and Upanishadic messages will not go to the brain. First thing, they are young, intellectually young, mentally young, physically also young. Then telling the great slokas from Puranas, from Upanishads and Vedas, they may not be in a position to digest it. So remember, Puranas are meant for intellectually, academically, socially, psychologically, those who are at lower level. But never keep yourself at lower level. From Puranas you have to elevate to Mahabharata. So I will be explaining to you about Mahabharata tomorrow, next class. In the next class I will be explaining about Mahabharata. Mahabharata is a mixture of stories and experiences. And in the stories you can see messages are there, experiences are there. And experiences of the people in Mahabharata are history, part of history, not story. That we will learn tomorrow or the next class. Whatever you have learned, tell your parents to analyze it, ask questions to you, so that it will become thorough for you. Then you teach others. Learn for learning, learn for teaching, learn for practicing, learn for preaching, and learn for acting and reacting. Learning is meant for teaching. Learning is meant for preaching. Learning is meant for acting. Learning is meant for reacting in a positive way or for creating positive result. Thank you very much. My pranams to you.